Alright, so we will start with the last topic, and that is digital to analog converter and analog to digital converters. So just let me modify this. Okay, so I have already given you the notes, handwritten notes, so I request you to consult those notes while looking at this presentation. Okay, so why do we require analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters? Basically, they come under what is called as the mixed signal components. Why mixed signal? Because it forms the interface between the digital and the analog world. So when you want to interface the analog world, we already know that a digital quantity will have a value that is specified as one of the two values, that is 0 and 1, low or high, true or false. That is basically the binary states. In practice, the voltage representation of a digital quantity may have value anywhere between the specified ranges. For example, for TTL logic, 0 to 0.8 volts and is called as logic 0, 2 volts to 5 volts is recognized as logic 1. Any voltage falling in between the range 0 to 0.8 is given the digital value 0, and rest you know. Now the digital circuits respond according to all these voltage values within a given range. Most physical values are analog in nature, so basically when we want to convert these values into digital format, we have to talk about these components. Now examples include temperature, pressure, light, intensity, audio signals, position, rotational speed and flow rate, and so many different physical quantities also. Digital systems perform all of their internal operations using digital circuitry and digital operations. We very well know that. You have already studied DCA. Any information that has to be input to a digital system must first be put into digital form. So before you process the signal in the digital domain, you have to convert it into the digital format. Similarly, output from a digital system is always in a digital form. So when you want to interface it with some analog, the equivalent, in that case you have to use a digital to analog converter. So this basically is the diagram which shows. So we have a transducer, necessarily here a sensor, and the sensor output is converted into digital form via what is called as the analog to digital converter, and whatever is the output of the digital system after processing is converted back to the analog so as to drive what is called as the actuator. Now remember that sensor and actuators are the two components. What is the basic difference between a transducer? When we call it transducer, sensor and actuator, let me clarify that. So basically transducer is a component, is a device which converts any form of energy into another form of energy. Okay, so it simply transforms the form of energy. Now when we come to electrical circuitry, whenever any component which transforms any form of physical energy into electrical energy, it is called as a sensor. Similarly, an actuator would be something like the input is an electrical energy and output is some other form of energy. So when we talk about electrical systems, sensors and actuators are referenced. So necessarily sensors and actuators are complementary, rather exhibit complementary behavior. Now when we say what are the examples of the sensors and the actuators, for example, in your cell phones, your microphones will act as sensors, or are necessarily sensors, and your speakers are the actuators. So as you can see here that the sensor does what? It converts, in this case of the cell phone, it converts the sound energy into electrical energy. Similarly, the speaker, what does it do? It converts electrical energy back into sound energy. So this is how, but before that it has to be processed, the signal has to be processed in the digital domain, and that is where the ADC and the DACs come into picture. So let us first of all see the basics. Please pardon the presentation here because I didn't have enough time to type all these things and make a nice presentation. Alright, so let us first of all clarify our doubts about the various things, the concepts used in this mixed signal kind of devices. The LSB, actually it represents the least significant bit. It actually represents the resolution of a digital representation. Okay, if 1 volt maximum value is converted into a 5-bit code, the resolution is 1 volt divided by 2 to the power whatever is the number of bits, so 2 to the power 5, and that turns out to be 31.25 millivolts in this case. So in general, the least significant bit, what does it give you? It gives you Vmax, that is a maximum voltage or the full scale voltage, divided by 2 to the power n. This is very important for you to remember. The maximum quantity represented by the code is the full scale value, which is 1 LSB less than Vmax. So please remember, the maximum value that can be represented is Vmax minus LSB. Okay, so V full scale is Vmax minus LSB. You already know what is LSB here. For example, 1 volt represented by a 5-bit code, the full scale that will be represented in the digital domain would be all ones. That is, in that case it will become Vmax, that is 1 volt minus the least significant bit, that is 31.25 millivolts. So maximum that output that you are going to get is 968.8 millivolts. Now analog equivalent of any digital bit is given by Vn, that is the Vn is the output analog voltage, which is given as 2 to the power n minus 1 multiplied by the LSB. This gives that the MSB, the most significant bit, represents Vmax, that is a maximum voltage divided by 2. So whenever we have only one bit which is high, for example MSB in this case, so it would be represented by Vmax it will actually represent Vmax by 2, that is half the maximum voltage. We come to a digital to analog converter. Now this is the basic block of the D2A converter, or DAC as it is commonly called as. So you have the digital inputs and you have the corresponding analog output. This digital output from computer is connected to a DAC, which converts it to a proportional analog voltage or current. Now interestingly, you may have two forms of the outputs in commercially available integrated circuits, which we are going to see later on. So we have, most of the times we have the current output, and then we may have to use the current to voltage converter, which we have studied in the signal conditioning, to retrieve the analog output voltage. So for example, computer might produce a digital output ranging from 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 all this to ones, which the DAC converts to a voltage ranging from say 0 to 10 volts. This example we are going to see with a simulation. Now what are the parameters of D2A converters? The parameters of DAC are: number 1, settling time or the conversion time, which is the time required by a converter output to settle at the new level when the input changes. Now this actually puts a severe restriction on the speed of the DAC. So you have to make sure that you're using the correct DAC with settling time which is acceptable. For a DAC, it is the time for analog output to settle to within the plus minus half LSB of the new level when the digital input changes. So this is basically the time factor. Second parameter is the monotonicity. The DAC should always produce an increase in output when the input increases and decrease in output when the input decreases. So it should have a transfer function which is monotonic in nature. Monotonic means always, let us say, may having this kind of example is something like this, and non-monotonic is that it decreases and then again increases. So this is the basic difference between the class of functions which is called as monotonic and non-monotonic. So in this case of DAC, naturally it is quite logical that it should produce an increase in the output voltage when the input also increases. One more parameter is the accuracy. The absolute accuracy of ADC or DAC involves linearity of the input-output relationship and possible offset error. Offset error is a constant error that produces an output that is larger or smaller than it should be by a fixed amount at every level. So just like your weighing scale, you do have some offset errors here, and it should actually the manufacturer will specify these offset errors. The maximum error is expressed as a percentage of maximum output. Okay, we'll see in the data sheet how it looks like. Then the last parameter is the resolution. As mentioned earlier, the percentage resolution of a DAC is dependent on the number of bits. A 10-bit DAC has a finer resolution than 8-bit DAC. So because it's very simple that this 10-bit DAC can represent more closely the value that it is supposed to represent. Okay, as simple as that. These are the DAC circuits. So we'll see the DAC circuits first. So this DAC circuit is basically the very first weighted average kind of DAC circuit. It is a summing amplifier, as you can very well identify here that it actually is a summing amplifier. Okay, so a 3-bit DAC is shown over here. So we have D1, D2 and D3. These are all let us say digital inputs. So inputs voltages over here will be smaller, will be either into 1 or 0 corresponding to the digital voltage levels. Okay, and then we have this weighted amplifier, summing amplifier. So this, it has got 3-bit inputs, D1, D2, D3, and each bit is assumed to have either TTL levels, that is 5 volt or 0 volts. Please remember, we are talking about digital levels here. So if you have R3 which is 4 times R1 and R2 which is 2 times R1, then you can very well derive such a kind of output equation. We have already seen the summing amplifier, so this should not be very difficult for you to understand. So output voltage, since it is an inverting summing amplifier, you get a minus sign over here. So it is nothing but D1 into RF by R1 plus D2 into RF by 2 times R1 plus D3 into RF by 4 times R1. This translates to V out being minus RF by R1 taken out common, D1 plus D2 by 2 plus D3 by 4. So you can see that it is generically D1 or D basically D1 plus D2 by 2 to the power 1 plus D3 divided by 2 to the power 2, and so on and so forth, depending on the number of inputs. So clearly D1 here is the most significant bit and D3 is the least significant bit. Another type of DAC is the R2R ladder. So we have this very interesting thing. The circuit uses voltage reference Vref, as you can see clearly over here, and the switches that set of resistors R1 and R3, R5 either to ground or to op-amp inverting input. So again you have these switches which are driven by the logic signals or the logic values. Okay, and you can see here that depending on the state of this D1, so these switches are voltage controlled switches. Okay, so when D1 is 1, for example, this point is connected here, D2 is 1, this point is connected here, and so on and so forth. So this is a very interesting circuit, R2R ladder, which is very common and commonly used in case of the DACs. The switches are field effect transistors and are controlled by digital inputs. Now the interesting thing about this R2R ladder is that this circuit uses values of R and 2R only, hence it is more suitable for IC fabrication. As compared to the previous circuit, we require R3 as 4 times R1. Different values of resistors are required over here, whereas in this case we require only R and 2R. Okay, R and 2R, only these two values are required. So repeatability is there, which is put to use very easily and economically in case of the integrated circuit. So this is the most favored circuit when you want to have an integrated IC, integrated circuit performing the DAC. If you look closely at the R2R ladder, just have a look at this diagram. I am just simplifying this further and further. So let us start with the lowest part over here, that is I6. So as you can see, you have this 10k here, you have this 10k here, so the current will divide equally. So I6 and I5 are same, because let us start with having some value of voltage current over here, and so we have this 10k here, 10k here, so the current divides equally, so I6 is equal to I5. Similarly, now when we talk about I4, okay, for example I4 is this current. So now if you look at this I4, what is this I4? How do you reduce this circuit? Again, we can make use of the Thevenin's equivalent and say that the total resistance over here is 10k in parallel with 10k, that in series with 5k. So necessarily over here it becomes 10k. Okay, so again when I talk about I4, I4 is flowing through 10k, and whatever is the current I3 is also the same as that of the I4. Similarly, I2 and I1 are also same. So essentially you have Iref, that is the reference current which is flowing into this circuit, is equal to 2 times I1 or also 2 times I2. Okay, so this is what it means. And how are they related to the other currents? I1 is equal to I2, which is 2 times I4, which is also 2 times I3. I3 is equal to I4, which is 2 times I5, which is equal to 2 times I6. If you understand this, you will be able to understand how this really functions. So Iref is, as you can see over here, that it is all these values. Okay, so Iref is getting divided into 2 times I1, which is getting further divided into 4 times I4, 8 times I5 and I6 of course. So in general, V out, which is equal to V reference creates the I reference into Rf by R into D1 divided by 2 to the power 1 plus D2 to the divided by 2 to the power 2, and so on and so forth. So once you understand the concept of R to R ladder, you are going to have a very easy way of finding this out. In fact, this is nothing but, as you can see very well over here, it is an inverting type of amplifier. So the output is going to be corresponding to whatever are the currents over here, and we are going to get necessarily this kind of output over here. As you can see here clearly that it is, except for this part, it will be Rf by R, which actually says that it is an inverting amplifier of some sort. Okay, so we'll switch to the simulation now. Alright, so this is the 4-bit binary weighted DAC, the very first DAC circuit that we have seen. It's a 4-bit version. Let us look at the configuration. First of all, it's a summing amplifier inverting at that, and I am using another inverting amplifier with a gain of 1 so that I can get the positive voltages. Alright, these are the components that we can use. We are using virtual op-amp, 3-terminal op-amp, to simplify the things. As you can see, I am having a gain of 1 over here. Alright, so let us simulate this circuit and see what we can, what output do we get. So for 0 volts, for all the 0 inputs, I am getting 0 volts over here. If I change the LSB, this is the LSB. So the LSB, as you can see, is about 625 millivolts. Please remember this and verify it with the formula that we have already seen during the presentation. Okay, now let us verify the second thing, that is when the MSB is 1, I should get Vmax by 2. So in that case, here in this case, the Vmax is 10 volts. So maximum voltage at the output that I am going to get is 10 volts, and so when I am having this MSB only asserted, in that case it is Vmax by 2 exactly. Let us verify what we get when we have what is the full scale output voltage. As you can see, the full scale output voltage when all the bits are 1 is 9.375. so this actually tallies with our formula, and we have already said that the maximum voltage that can be represented is Vmax, that is a 10 volts minus LSB, and we've already seen LSB is 625 millivolts, that is 0.625 volts. So if you add them up together, it becomes 10 volts. Or in the other way around, Vmax, V full scale, whatever is the full scale value, is 10 minus the LSB, that is 10 minus 0.625, that gives me exactly 9.375 volts. So this is the maximum voltage that can be generated by this DAC. Another interesting thing to note here is the relationship between these resistors, 5k, 10k, 20k, 40k, and you can go on extending this to any number of bits, of course limited by hardware, practicality of the hardware, number of resistors and the inputs. At the same time, you have to make sure that the operational amplifier is a precision operational amplifier, so that there are no offset errors in this. Okay, so this is basically the 4-bit binary weighted DAC, very easy to simulate over here. Just look at the components properly and then you will be able to understand how it really works. We'll switch to the R2R ladder DAC. So this is the R2R DAC. It's a 4-bit R2R DAC, ladder DAC. So as you can see, I am having only two values of resistor, R and 2R, R and 2R, R and 2R. Okay. So here in this case it is again a 4-bit R2R ladder DAC. Now this forms a summing amplifier, as I have already said. Again inverting one, so I am using another inverter to get the positive output voltage. Okay, your VREF is again 10 volts. So if I, now interestingly, these switches, they are called as a voltage controlled SPST, that is single pole single throw kind of switches. And as I said, in real circuits, transistors are used as switches. Mostly the field effect transistors are used over there. Okay, so here we are simplifying the things just to understand how it works. So let me first of all make all of them zeros and then simulate the circuit to see. So this is because of the offset that I am getting. So this is the MSB, alright, this is the LSB, and we are getting then the full scale output as 9.375 volts again. So if I go back to this, this is the MSB, because it is representing the maximum voltage, reference voltage divided by 2. As I said, this is the offset. So you can very well confirm that it gives me the maximum voltage over here like this. Alright, the interesting thing that we have to see is the current relationships. So if I just put a current probe here, it is 1 milliampere. So here it is again, it is 500 microamperes. So you can verify this. This should be 250 and finally 125 microamperes. So you can see the current relationships in the ladder. Okay, this is the output voltage. We can very well construct this very easily, so that things are clearly seen. Just make sure that you are putting the digital input over here like this, and the other end of this other terminal, negative, marked negative, is connected to ground for this voltage controlled switch. Everything else is nearly the same as we have used earlier. Alright, so let us switch back to the presentation. So to summarize, we have seen two types of D2A converters. We are going to see IC based converter in the later part of the lecture. Here one advantage that we are having for the R2R ladder is that we require only two resistors two resistor values, that is R times and 2R. Okay, so with that we finish with the D2A converter in the first part, as a first part of this lecture.